Hi, I'm John Russell, editor of HPCwire, and with me today is Barry Bolding, I guess you're Senior Vice President and Chief Strategic Officer. Thanks for your time, appreciate it. And congratulations on all the awards HPCwire gave. I shouldn't say HPCwire, our readers and the editors ended up, I think it's 6 awards this year. Anyway, good going. I thought today we could tackle a few topics, and today later on there is this invited talk on NSCI, and I was wondering what you might, what's on your mind relative to it. Do you see it as a positive thing, and how do you think it will start to affect us?
Thanks, John. Certainly I see the NSCI as a really positive movement in the U.S. government. They're recognizing the benefits of high-performance computing. Also some of the challenges. If you look at the 5 items that they highlight in that document, there are a number of them that are very relevant and that are key to our success competitively. There are things like the convergence or coherence of big data and supercomputing. And we've been talking about that convergence for a long time, that there are many problems where you're going to need technologies that can be applied to both analytics problems and to HPC problems in order to solve them more quickly. And we've seen that in industry and academics. We're seeing the front edge of that at the very high end. And it's good to recognize that in the NSCI initiative. Also, we're a strong player with the National Science Foundation, with the Department of Defense, with the Department of Energy. We're very interested in exascale and some of the systems that we're putting in over the next year at NERSC and Trinity are already parts of a roadmap toward exascale. So we see the initiative as recognizing all of those, things like we're doing with Blue Waters, with the NSF, things that we're doing with the Department of Defense, and things that we're doing with the Department of Energy. And it's very aligned with our views.
I should have said congratulations on the top 500 showing as well. So the conference so far, it's sort of the early part of Wednesday, but there's been a couple days now. Are you having a good conference, and what are the themes that you're seeing?
We're certainly having a great conference. Cray is a company that's very focused on this community, the community at the high end of high-performance computing, and that focus is paying off. We're growing at a tremendous rate. We're growing at over approximately 20% per year in revenues over the last few years. We've almost tripled the size of the company in revenues over the last few years. We also are investing heavily in R&D in the high performance area. And that focus is paying off. Also, we're seeing trends in software. We made some announcements this week. We announced Docker on our high-end supercomputers, and that really is about improving the productivity of those systems. And so I think productivity of high-performance computers is something we want to see more at conferences like this. You see it, a lot of commercial companies are here, many energy companies, and for instance, and they're all very interested in improving their productivity. So that's a trend that we're seeing.
The Docker comment resonates. I know that, I guess it was just a couple months ago, NERSC came out with this software shifter, which allows people to sort of use their containers and get it onto Edison pretty quickly. So penetrating the enterprise, you talk about Cray being so strong at the top, which clearly is the case, yet we're looking at this broader market. We're trying to make it more competitive, give some of the tools from HPC, both traditional modeling kind of tools, but also big data crunching. What's your view on how we do that? How do we bring HPC to the broader enterprise, and what are sort of the missing ingredients?
So in terms of the growth of commercial and HPC having an impact on the enterprise, I do think that this convergence of big data and supercomputing is going to have a big impact. What you see is you see technologies migrating between analytics and HPC. And we've seen that with Cray. We've actually had a series of products that we've announced over the last couple of years, the Eureka products, where we're bringing high performance computing technologies to the analytics problem space. First for very large graph problems, and we'll be continuing to do that. We didn't announce anything at this show, but we're going to be continuing to bring high-performance computing technologies to analytics problems. And I think you're going to see that across all of the companies, and you're going to see a trend in HPC in that area.
One of the things that's really new, and I know Cray, I believe, is one of the members. I don't even know if its membership is formal yet, but there's this open HPC project under the Linux umbrella, and it sounds like a good idea to start with. What are your thoughts about that? As I say, I think Cray is part of the originals.
No, that's a great point. So we were in discussions with the Linux Foundation, and there were a number of technology leaders who, including Cray, who believe that if we can provide an open set of technologies in the software side for HPC, that we can scale systems and provide tools and technologies to customers in a very efficient manner. And now this is at the very beginning, and I think Cray is happy to be involved in that. I think we're involved because we want to make sure that this is a set of technologies that all vendors can use, and it's also a set of technologies that will scale, and then we can build differentiation around that. So, we're very positive on this. I think only time will tell how productive it will be, but we're certainly very supportive of this new initiative.
Thank you. I don't know if you had a chance to make the IDC breakfast yesterday, where they had their numbers. I got drenched on the way. But I'm curious, they said that for the first time, well, I guess since 2014, sales were sort of slumping a little bit in the high end, and they've returned to growth. Looks very robust. If you look across all of their numbers, from servers to, of course, storage has been strong for a while, it looks like things are moving really, really well. Is that your sense? Do you get the sense that there's sort of new energy or a rebound a little bit from what was sluggish?
Certainly. I mean, Cray's growth is indicative of the energy we're seeing at the high end. I do think, there's tremendous pressure in the server business at the low end from cloud-based providers. So I think that's certainly put some pressure on the marketplace. But at the high end, the types of problems that Cray is solving, where we're combining storage, compute, and analytics, we're just seeing tremendous growth. And so I think IDC's catching a little bit of that. I was at the briefing, and I think they're beginning to see a little bit of that. We never saw the flattening piece, because I think the flattening of the markets tended to hit some of the low-end providers a lot more than it hit us. We've just seen steady growth across all of our product lines.
One of the things I thought was, it's still developing, but this notion of measuring ROI, and their ROI report numbers were incredible. 500 plus per dollar invested in HPC, pretty astounding. Does that sort of, what does that mean? Do you think that we're creating an appetite outside the traditional market? They say we can use this to invest and improve our bottom line. Do you think that's happening?
I do. It's something that every industry struggles with as they make investments. They struggle with trying to show the quality of those investments and the return on those investments. IDC's done a really nice job of trying to gather data that allows us to recognize some of that in HPC. But one of the key things Cray has always focused on, that we've always been focused on, providing the right technology for the right application. We call that adaptive supercomputing. And that is really around TCO and ROI, because if you have the right technology that's fit to the application, you'll get the best results for the lowest cost. And then connecting that, the hard part is then connecting that to the return that a company would get on their investment. But if you're designing systems to really provide the best performance for the applications, then I think you're well on your way to good ROI. That's one of the reasons you may have noticed we never do a press release around the top 500. Top 500 is a really nice metric for looking at the marketplace. But the benchmark itself is more of a toy application. we don't really view that as a real customer application. And so we actually have a policy that we never do press releases on applications that aren't real customer applications. We only want to talk about that. For instance, now one thing that is a real customer application is the ability of our customers to use and drive storage and data. We have a new product called Data Warp that we announced last year, and we're installing that at a number of our customers, including Trinity and King Abdullah University in Saudi Arabia. And we're actually seeing results that are phenomenal, real results on real applications that are phenomenal using the Data Warp technologies. That's what we're interested in, and that leads to return on investment. Real application performance leading to real return on investment.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Okay. Thank you very much, John. Have a good show.
Okay, take care.